This is the GK Kunten. And we're going to look at this IEM as well as a bunch of other IEMs all in the same budget segment in this particular video. So stay tuned. Welcome back, audiophiles. It's me, your boy Joe, back again with another video, and this time we'll be looking at a bunch of different budget segment IEMs, such as brands from the TRN. We're also going to be looking at the Audiocular, and of course, we'll be looking at the GK Kunten. Regarding some of these IEMs, some of them were bought by me, and some of them were given to me for review, especially the Audiocular Arc. This was given to me for review by the Audio Store. If you like to get IEMs such as the GK Kunten as well as the Audiocular Arc, you can check out the Audio Store, which I'll be giving you down a link in the description below. Of course, they are affiliated links, so I will be getting a commission out of the purchases from that link, but I would like to say that in this video, I'm going to be giving you my honest review on these IEMs, and there's no biases whatsoever. So as you can see, we have a lot of things to review on our plate. So this is going to be a kind of a quick shootout where I'll just quickly go through each of these IEMs and try on, give quick first impressions, and also just try to give an overall general feel for all of these IEMs in terms of their sound impressions. And yes, you have heard the title correctly. I'm going to be doing a huge giveaway with all of these particular IEMs, and more details on that giveaway in the end of the video, so do check that out. As usual, timestamps will be given in the bottom of the video, so you can check out whichever IEM you want in this particular review bunch. With all that said, let's begin. So in no particular order, I'm actually going to be taking a bunch of IEMs from this bunch, and then I'll be showing you one by one as we go along. So starting with this one. This one is the Audiocular Arc. So the Audiocular Arc is actually an IEM with a Type-C connection inbuilt within it. And this is something from the Audiocular series, which is catering to the budget groups which wants a Type-C connection in their cable. And as of now, in the website, the Audiocular Arc is having an MRP of 1,399 Indian rupees, but it's also available as of now for 830 rupees down on the website. So do check that out in the links below. In terms of style, I would say that the shell is pretty good. It's a plastic shell. It is having that kind of dark green hue to it, so color wise it's pretty nice. And in terms of the cable, honestly, we have a bit of a theme going on with all the budget segment, that the cable is not to the expectations that you really have. So keep that in mind. We're looking at stuff which is like 800 rupees or 1,300 rupees, and if you want that in dollars, in freedom units, it's like less than $10. Okay, so $10, $11, $12, that's what we're looking at in here. So I honestly can't gripe about the cables that much, so let's just keep the cable griping to the side, but just look at how it is in terms of overall build. So we're looking at the standard white-ish cable. Of course, it has the mic attachment in it. We'll be looking at a little bit of a mic test if I can. So we're looking at a standard whitish cable with the mic attachment in it, and we have the buttons for volume and as well as play pause. So I will give a little bit of a mic test with this, so do stay tuned for that. And of course, we are finishing with a Type-C connection. In terms of the overall specs written on this, it has a 16 ohm impedance, and the driver is a single 11mm dynamic driver. Let's go for a quick fit test. So one thing right off the bat, this thing has a very crunchy driver flex when you're putting it in. I could feel that whenever you're trying to adjust it, so do keep that in mind. And fit wise, nothing to complain about. Standard connection, so it's standard fit. No issues with me whatsoever. Here's the right side. And here's the left side. So I think these ear hooks are also fine. It's a bit of a standard ear hooks. It does tend to scratch for a little bit, but then if you want, you could loosen up these ear hooks with a bit of hot water and you're good to go. And there's no chin slider, so a bit sad for that. I do have a feeling that this particular cable is sure to get oxidized at a certain point. You'll start to see greenish hues here and there, so that's an inevitable when you are using these kind of budget IEMs. But one thing to note is that these are detachable, so you can remove it and change the cable if you really want to. So let's just quickly plug this in, try a few songs, and then get back to you. Yeah, so in terms of drivability, as this is Type-C, honestly, I'm not going to be trying this with different DACs or anything. I'm not going to be plugging this off. So I'm just going to be using as its stock particular format. I say that it's driving pretty well. It's driving to the volume that I want. It's also easy connection with the software in here. It's just plug and play. So this thing can provide up to 384 kilohertz bitrate if you want to in terms of sampling. As for me, I feel like this thing is more catered towards gaming oriented, I would say, because I see that the the high ends are a little bit artificially boosted to a certain extent, so it's more vocal centric. Probably if you're gaming with this, and then if you're playing shooter games, then you want to hear those footsteps and you want to hear those gunshots. So I guess that is why this thing is more focused towards that. It's not to the sense of a musical focused, I would say. As for me, when I tried listening with some songs, by the way, quick shout out, if you want to listen to the songs that I'm having and I'm using for my reviews, there's going to be a link down below in the form of an Apple curated playlist, so you could check out the songs that I'm listening to. So starting out, I was just trying Star Walking by the League of Legends group, which is a really nice song from Lil Nas X, and that one has a lot of bass in it with some vocals, but when I was listening with this, I feel like the vocals was taking much more forward than I would expect. Bass thump is little there. It's not the most enveloping of bass thump at all. It's just okay normal thump, and then there is not much of a sub bass in here at all, I would say, but it's more vocal centric, so the vocals of the song was very clear, very crystal clear. I would not term this to be shouty or anything, but I would just say it's more mid-centric towards their vocal range, and it's expected to be like that because it's a gaming focused IEM. That's all I could say. Okay, and for those who wants to know a quick test of the mic quality of this thing, here's the mic quality. I'm talking to that, and this is what you're going to be listening to. If I am going to be dropping this to the side in a usual gameplay, this is how it is, and if I am talking with this particular motion, let me know how it is down in the comments below. So how would I rate the Audiocular Arc? Well, first and foremost, the shell is pretty good. I kind of like the kind of color designs that they went along with and this kind of faceplate design, so it's pretty nice. If I want to, I could probably switch the cable out because it's a Type-C cable. I will switch it to some 3.5 cable and use it as is. But this one is more vocal centric, it's more gamer focused, so there's that going for it. In terms of musicality, I really don't think that song lovers and people who wants to enjoy music would probably go for this. People who wants a very quick and dirty IEM that they could just chuck along, use it for calls or use it for quick games and stuff, they could probably benefit from this. So in terms of rating, I would give this a 2 out of 5 because in terms of just quick and ease of use, and of course for the shell design because I kind of like the screen color shells. Alright, so the next one that we're going to be looking at is the TRN ST1. So this one is a budget IEM from the TRN group. Quick shout out to Monk from the Discord group for helping me get these particular bad boys, as well as some of the other TRN IEMs out there. So in terms of specs, the TRN ST1 is having a sensitivity of 108 dB and it has an impedance of 22 ohms, if that means anything, because in most of these budget ones, it just pretty much runs off anything. In terms of pricing, the TRN ST1 comes at around $11.5 in most of the sites, so I would leave you links of unaffiliated links down there in the description below. But let's have a look at the IEMs themselves. So quick look, you could see that they're actually having a dual color format. This one's the magenta plus blue, and it has this kind of metallic looking shell, and it has that color based plastic, I would say, plastic resin, not sure, but feels like plastic in the back for both the magenta and the blue. So the right side is blue, the left side is magenta. It has kind of dual color formats, but there are also other color formats down in the sides. I could see that we had a black one, we have just plain blue, plain purple, whichever one you want. In terms of construction, I would say it looks pretty nice. This thing is certainly not actual metal. It feels like plastic, so I think the color might go away after a while, not sure. And the cable is a ultra thin, budget oriented cable that comes from the TRN groups, and the cable actually feels a bit stretchy, so I'm worried if I do tug it hard enough, would it snap? Not sure. So it's a bit of a stretchy cable, and it finishes off at a metallic 3.5mm jack, which is pretty nice actually. The version that I have is without the mic, so we don't have a mic test for this one, but as you can see, the cable is very flimsy. It has a lot of memory to it, so if you do keep it down on a table or something, it kind of just sticks up like that in here and there, so it's not pretty nice for me. Let's do a quick fit test. The ear hooks are actually pretty aggressive and they are scratching me in the back. Maybe if you have smaller ears, then this thing may not be a problem for you, but for me it's kind of hitting me in the back in here. So this one's the right side and here's the left side. So comfort wise, not much to go about it, and it is a bit tangling here and there. And there's no chin slider again. That's a bit of a bummer, but let's play some music on this. Okay, for this one, I'm listening to Unstoppable by Sia, and right off the bat, I can tell you that it has pretty good bass energy going for it. It has an okay level of bass thump. Once again, the sub bass is there. I would say it's not rumbling sub bass. It's not the kind of wonderful sub bass that'll take you away, but it is present, so I can't say it's absent or anything. And the bass is a bit of a bloated bass, I would say, because the mids are a bit colored. I could feel that bass bloat coming into this one. And in terms of the vocals, I would say the vocals is not the most forward, but it is, you know, in front of few of the instruments, because there are some instruments that's coming even before the vocals. In terms of cleanliness, I would say that there is a bit of a mix. Once most of the instruments comes together in the drops, I feel like it's starting to muddle up a little bit. I don't hear most of the details in some of these tracks. Overall, I would say it's an okay performance. Not the worst of performances by any means, but it is an okay performance, at least to my judgment in this case. And for me, the comfort is really starting to irritate me. These ear hooks is not the best of ear hooks for this particular IEM. So as for the TRN ST1, I would say that it is having a good looking shell. It's nice and pretty, but the ear hooks is really aggressive in the TRN ST1. And in terms of sound impressions, I would say that it's more focused to a little bit of a mix. In terms of sound impressions, I would say that it's actually a bit of a mixed bag. In some places, it's having good bass, but in some places, that bass tends to feel a bit bloated. And once most of the instruments comes in, the separation is not good in here, so it's an okay level of separation. Once you have too many instruments playing all at once, then you can't notice where is where. And in terms of staging, nah, it's very narrow soundstage. So if I were to give a quick rating for the ST1, I would say that this thing is honestly just a 1 out of 5, just because it just looks pretty. That's all I could go for it. The cable is not good. The IEMs are not the most comfortable for me, so honestly, I can't go more than a 1 out of 5 on this. Alright, so keeping up with the momentum, next up we have another guy from TRN. This one is the TRN TA. Awkward naming aside, here's a closer look at the shells. The shells is actually metallic, so it has a metal shell in the front with a bit of plastic in the back, so that's pretty nice. The metal is actually metal, feels cool to the touch. It has an increasingly aggressive ear hook, so I don't know if it's a thing with the TRN guys, but their ear hooks are the most aggressive ones by far. This one has a mic, so we're going to be seeing a little bit of a mic test with that. So it has a mic with a single multifunctional button, and the cable itself, you can see that it's kind of like copper-ish cable. Yep, it's copper with a see-through sheathing on it, and it finishes off with another see-through copper with a TRRS plug. So this is a 3.5 plug. Let's go for a quick fit test. Fit-wise is actually pretty good. Even though the ear hooks is aggressive, it's not aggressive and curving in, so that ear hook is actually not scratching me. It's kind of like just sticking out, so that's pretty good for in terms of the ear hooks design. Here's the right side, and here's the left side. Okay, and now for the funny part. I actually don't know how much this TRN TA costs, because when I look up TRN TA, I'm only finding something called TRN TA1. There's also 2, 3, 4 in there, and those ones don't look like this. So I'm not sure if they have updated it or something like that, because the TRN TA1 is a $20 IEM. This one doesn't feel like a $20, but yeah, this one is something of a limited edition or something. I really don't know. If anyone do know this particular IEM and know where to get it, please let me know down in the comments below, because this one was given to me from Monk from the server again, and a huge shout out to him, but I honestly don't know where to get this particular TRN. But nevertheless, you're here for listening to the sound impressions, and I'm here to give it to you, so here's the sound impressions. Okay, so for this one, I'm listening to Vivent by Daddy Yankee. In this one, it's actually a very nice big bass heavy song, so I'm expecting to get some bass thump from this. And truth to be told, this is actually a pretty good bassy IEM. It's very warm, it has a good bass thump actually, and there's a nice presence of sub bass, so the sub bass rumble is actually pretty good. But that bass quality is not so good. The bass is pretty boomy, I would say. It's actually a little bit bloated, and that bloat can be felt very clearly going towards the mids. So the mids is not the cleanest of mids. This is more towards, I would say, a V-shaped IEM, and that mids is not clean because of that bit of a boomy bass, and the vocals sound a bit weird. I would not say that it's bad or anything, but it does sound different to me. It doesn't sound as usual as I would expect the vocals to be, because I heard the song 100 times. The treble is not sharp, so it's actually pretty soft treble overall. Even though it's a V-shaped IEM, it's pretty comfortable in the treble region. You can crank this up to a good volume and enjoy with it, but once you do crank it up, you do start to notice the bloated bass that's coming here and there. So it's not the best of bass sets, but it is having good sub bass rumble. So it has sub bass rumble, bloated albeit thumpy bass with colored mids and safe highs. So the highs are pretty okay. You can hear the individual hi-hats, but once the instrument starts to come all together, you start to feel that little bit of a congestion that comes in it, and that congestion kind of changes the vocal clarity to some extent. I'm not sure why, but it is changing to some extent. Okay, so for the TRN TA, what is my impressions? Well, it's actually better than the other TRN that I've tried. It's better than the SD1, but in overall aspect, I would say that the cable is going to be susceptible to some damage. And oh yeah, the mic, I forgot about that. Okay, so here is a quick voice test from the TRN T4. Do let me know how this particular voice test is down in the comments below. Is this something that you're going to be using while you're using this for maybe, let's say, some calls or for some gaming? I'm going to be doing hands-free, and now let me know how this particular voice is going. All right? Yeah, cool. Okay, so on the whole, it's actually pretty okay, albeit it's having some bloated mids, and it has a okay bass. I would say it's an okay bass, and the treble is pretty soft. So in terms of rating, I would actually give this an okay 3 out of 5, because this is something that I do see myself at least hearing if I want to have a quick burner set to have around with me. Alright, so the next one that we're actually going to be seeing brand new is this one, which is the FZZS1. The FZZS1 is actually an IEM which you can't find in India. In fact, you can't find in most of the places. I found only a few sites which is from Bangladesh, and by comparison I see that this thing is available for around 2,300 Indian rupees, which is around, like, let's say, I think 19 bucks or something. Okay, so this is from the group called the FC Audio, and this one is rated to be a 113 dB in sensitivity with 32 ohms in impedance, and it caters a dynamic driver in ear monitor. And for those who wants a waifu collection, here is a waifu picture in the front cover as well. So that's there going for it. So let's do a quick unboxing of this thing. So I have the one which is the light green color. So this one is the light green color, and is it with or without mic? So it does have a mic. So we're going to be doing a quick mic test as well with this. All in all, the unboxing is pretty much the same. You just get the earphones with the cable and a set of ear tips. Nothing major or anything, no cases or anything as well. Okay, so first look at the IEMs. I see that this thing is actually having a similar cable to the TRN that we just saw right now, which is the TRN T4. In fact, I could go as to say that this is exactly like the TRN T4 in terms of its particular cable. So it has that copper with sheathing, that transparent style sheathing with it. I don't see to be the biggest fan in this particular very bright greenish earphones, because these green earphones is really not matching with the cable color. So I'm a man of aesthetics, and this just doesn't cut out for me. But nevertheless, let's wear it. Alright, so here's the fit test. Here's the right side. And here's the left side. So I'm really not sure how do I look like with things, but maybe I see to be gathering attention if I am wearing this and going out in public with this. I don't really see myself doing that, but hey, that's the case. Let's play some songs with this. Okay, so the song that we're listening to this time is Bling Bang Bang Boom, and this one is from, of course, the Mashil soundtrack, so do check it out if you want to. And this one, I'm honestly surprised with the amount of bass that this thing is throwing out. It has a good sense of sub-bass rumble, and it has a bass thump, a very good bass thump, but the bass is super bloated. The bass is kind of booming here and there, and it's super warm. As a bass head, I am liking it. It's a super warm, very bassy, albeit pretty bloated bass, and you're not getting the details that you want in here. By all means, this thing is a bass focused set, and the voice clarity is pretty good. I would say that the vocals are coming a little bit forward despite all of this bloomy bass that is happening in there. Mids are not at all clean, so I would give you that front and foremost. The mids are not the cleanest of mids, but the bass is pretty good, but with that sense of vocal presence in the front. So the vocal is pushed forward. It is kind of finding out the male vocals in the set and moving that forward. That is there for it. The hi-hats, the trebles, it's not having so much of a treble spike. It's not having much trebles at all, actually. It's not that much detailed, but it is totally bass focused. So if you want something with the dirty bass, with the bloomy bass, then this is actually pretty okay for that particular use case scenario. As for me, in the overall, let me say that this particular shell is not to my liking. The shell is the lemon shell, ultra light as well. So there's no build quality in this. And the ear hooks is kind of similar similar to how the TRN ear hooks are. So it's the generic ear hooks. And in terms of the cable and the mic, well, let's just go for a mic test. All right, so this is me talking with the FC Audio ZS1. Do let me know how you think about this particular mic down in the comments below. Is this pretty much similar to how the TRN mic is, or is this actually somewhat different? Then do let me know down in the comments below. Here is me talking on freestyle without touching the mic, so you also let me know how this particular audio quality is. Well, for me, I'm not into much of the build quality and the aesthetics for that order, but in terms of sound quality, it's just totally on the base set. I wouldn't go as to call this thing audio grade, because there's actually a couple of consumer grade IEMs and earphones which is out there, which I feel like would be performing better than this one. So in terms of rating, I would say that if you are picking this up, this one is a 2 out of 5 on that particular rating, just because the bass is good, but everything else is so not good in for this one. All right, so we have one more IEM to go before going for the GK Kunten, and this one is the FCFT1. Here's a closer look at this one. This one is also a waifu related IEM, I guess, because this one is having that in the front, and this one's also a sealed pack, so we're going to be unboxing this one together, because this one is also coming from the FC Audio. I see places where this one is available for like 13 bucks or something in AliExpress. This one is having a 16 ohms of impedance with 120 ohms of sensitivity, and this one is a dynamic driver IEM as well. Let's see how different this is. Let's see how different this particular IEM is compared to the other FC IEM that we just tried. Here's a closer look at the shells. This one is the black color, I guess. That's the one that I picked for the FCFT1. So first things first, let's just talk about the overall design. This one is once again a full plastic build. So I guess FC Audio is getting all of their cables from the same group, and it is once again that similar sort of copper with transparent sheathing. Nothing much to talk about in this one. It's once again the exact same kind of cable as I've seen in the other FC IEM that I just looked at. So there's that going for it. In terms of the shell, we are looking at a black color shell, semi-transparent, I would believe. So transparent black color shell with a little bit of that logo that you saw, probably the FC Audio logo. Let's go for a fit test. One thing to note in these particular FC IEMs, I did not get any driver flex, but the other TRN IEM that I was trying was having driver flex, so that's pretty good on the FC's part. Alright, so here's the right side, and here's the left side. Comfort wise, once again, standard, so nothing to talk about it. Ear hooks is exactly the same as the other ear hook, so if it is touching you, it would probably scratch, but for me, it is kind of like sticking out in the back, so it's not having any issues for me whatsoever. Let's go for a quick sound test. So the song I'm listening to is Mi Clan from the League of Legends group, and I must say, this thing is pretty surprising. This one is having a very good amount of bass, and it has a very good amount of sub bass. The sub bass rumble is really good out here. I would say in terms of the mids are okay. I would not call this to be bad at all. And in terms of treble, there's no treble. This thing is having no details whatsoever, but that you can hear the vocals. There are male vocals in here, and the male vocals is forward, so you could hear the vocals, you could enjoy the bass to its fullest extent, but there's no like upper details, I would say. So there's no details, there's no spice, there's no that extra micro details, technicalities. No, none of that. If you are a person who wants to listen to the bass to its fullest extent and just enjoy the bass alone, then by all means this is really good for that sense. So if you just want something maybe in back-end listening, so I would call this to be more of a back-end listening sort, where you don't want to listen to the nuances of the song, so there's no nuances in that case. But even when the tracks do get busy, it manages to hold off on its own. It's not like super clear or crystal clear in that sense, but I have to say throughout all the IEMs I was checking so far, this bass is really out there, so that's going for that. Alright, so this is a quick listen to the FCFT1 with the mic attachment of its own. Do let me know how this particular mic quality is down at the comments below, and let me know if it's pretty much similar to the rest of the IEMs, which I have also tried right now. Alright? Okay, so with all that said, I would say that this particular IEM is pretty good. I actually kind of like the bass performance of this IEM, only the bass performance, not the details, concept or anything like that. But for a person who wants pure bass in their IEMs and for something on a cheap budget, this is actually somewhat nice. I kind of like it. So in terms of rating, I would say that this one is somewhat like 2.5 out of 5 maybe, because the bass is good, but nothing else in this thing is good. Alright, so enough postponing the matter. Here's something that you guys have all been waiting for. This is the GK Kunten. In terms of boxing, I would say the GK Kunten is pretty much similar to all the rest of the guys. It's just the IEMs, the cable inside a plastic cover, and a set of ear tips. So nothing much in the differences in that aspect. But this one is rated to have an impedance of 43 ohms actually, with a sensitivity of 109 dB. So pretty surprising number for the impedance factor, but we'll see how it is in the sound test. So in terms of pricing, the GK Kunten is available for 1,029 rupees as of the time of this video over at the audiostore.in, and that's pretty much equivalent to around like 11 bucks or something. So that's how much the GK Kunten is priced. So it's a $10 IEM. In terms of build, I would say that this one is pretty similar to the KZ aspects, because GK I think is just a spin-off from the KZ brand again, and me telling this name over and over again, the Kunten is going to get my video demonetized because the way that the word is sounding is really bad. But nevertheless, here is a look at the cable. The cable is that kind of whitish cable which is reminiscent of most of the KZ lineup, so that's nothing special in there. And we are having a mic attachment in this one, so you will see the mic quality in the Kunten. And as for the shell is actually feeling metallic, so I'm not sure if it is really metallic or something, but it feels chill to the touch, so I'm not sure if the front shell is metallic. But the back is having that semi-translucent resin-like, plastic-like feel. So let's go for a fit test. Fit-wise is actually pretty good, and the ear hooks is not giving me any kind of discomfort whatsoever. So there's that going for it. Here's the right side, and here's the left side. So I was actually wearing this for quite a while, and I was using this for gaming, I was using this for listening to music, and I had no fit issues and no fatigue issues whatsoever. So this is actually pretty comfortable to wear. In terms of drivability, I was running this off my phone, I was running this off different DAPs and DACs and whatnot, and I had no issues running it off to the volume that I wanted. So even though it's saying that it is 43 ohms in impedance, honestly, I don't feel that much of an impedance change when I'm trying to listen to normal music. So it's pretty well drivable, so you don't have to worry about that. Alright, so before we get to the sound impressions, let's just quickly look at the frequency response graph of the GK Kunten. And as usual in all of my videos, I say that do listen to whatever I talk about the frequency response graph with a block of salt, because the frequency response graph is not an understanding of the full IEM itself, but just to get a somewhat of a little idea of the sound signature of an IEM. So with that in mind, let's look it up. So we can see that the GK Kunten is having a very good sub bass shelf, which then rolls very gradually to the mids and then bumps up to the vocals and has a little bit of a peak in the treble and presence. So this one does consider to be more of a V-shaped IEM, as to my understanding, that there is a very good presence of sub bass rumble into it, but the bass thump is okay, not the most of bass thumps, but this actually gives a very nice mellow feel to the overall sound signature. And the treble, as far as the treble is concerned, I would say that the treble is okay. It's not the most amazing of micro details or anything. It's not going to be lacking of those micro details as well. It is like, you want details, here's some details, that's all. So it's like, you want good bass, here's some bass for you. You want good mids, here's some mids for you. So it's like a jack of all trades. It's not going to be super in any of the particular sets, but it is actually adequate in all of these particular regions. That's how I would consider the GK Kunten to be. Moving for the songs, I have tried this with Dried Flower from Yuri. It is a very nice mellow song with some minor instruments, with a guitar and male vocals. And the GK Kunten actually did pretty well. It has a nice good bass rumble in it. I felt the bass line pretty clearly as well. I felt most of the instruments as well. Staging is normal. It's not wide staging, but it's certainly not narrow either. So it is somewhere in between, I would say. It's like normal staging. You want some good staging? Here it is. And in terms of bass, once again, it's normal, good bass. And the mids is slightly colored towards the bass side. It's not the cleanest of mids, but it's certainly not super dirty as well. And the vocals, this one is male vocals. I feel like some of the guitars go in front of the male vocals in terms of placement as to how this is rendering it, but I don't see this to be a deal breaker or anything. I still enjoyed the track. I liked that guitar. The guitar was very clean, felt actually pretty organic as well. And along with that guitar, the male vocals picked in. It felt very nice. It had that kind of overall presence to it. I did start to enjoy the music wearing the Kunten, so it's that. Overall, I would say that GK Kunten did very well in this particular song. The next song that we looked at is Dynasty by Mia. This one is having a lot of strings, a lot of instruments, and this one is female vocals. Dare I say that the GK Kunten actually did pretty well in here. It gave a good sort of rhythm in the bass. It gave a good, okay level of that enveloping feeling with the strings and all. And the strings didn't feel so much muddled up. It did a good sense of keeping the strings separate to an extent. Once the vocals was coming in, the vocals was actually somewhat forward as compared to the rest of the instruments. Not so forward that it is popping out at you, but it is an okay sense of forward. Treble details, a little bit. There's a little bit of treble details which is present in all of them. I do hear the violins, the strings, all of them have very good placement. So the placement was okay. Once again, the soundstage was not so wide, but then an okay soundstage. And once all the instruments came together, it slightly held up its own. It didn't muddle up so bad or anything, but it muddled up just a little bit once all the musical instruments started coming in. So it actually held on for dear life when all the different instruments was coming in. So it was actually beyond my expectations of how this thing was supposed to perform. So pretty nice out there. Very good song, done pretty well with the GK Kunten. Okay, so this is a mic test using the GK Kunten, and it is just in the side of me, so I'm not touching it or anything. Do let me know how the volume of the GK Kunten is down at the comments below. So here is the mic test with the GK Kunten. I'm holding it up near my mouth so I could talk to it better. Do let me know how the audio of the GK Kunten is down at the comments below, and let me know what is your favorite voice and which is your favorite mic out of all the different options that I've tried so far. This is me letting it go and just letting it freely roam around while I'm talking to you. So here's a difference in that aspect as well. Alright, so overall, I'm actually quite surprised by how this GK Kunten has performed in all of the different tests that I've put through it. It is okay in everything. That's the thing about this particular Kunten. It is okay in everything. It is having a good combination of bass, a good combination of okay mids and treble, but it is not excellent in all of those aspects. In all of these aspects, it's kind of like a jack level in that, and that's what put this in a very good spot, because this one, in terms of price to performance, at being at just a $10 IEM, this by all means is giving very good competition for IEMs which can even go up to, let's say, $30 if not $40 as well. But beyond that, you would start to hear better technicalities, better bass performance, and all of that would certainly beat the Kunten. But on the whole, if you want an ultra budget IEM and then you just want to have the best that you can cope up with until you get to such an extent, this is a very good competition. So this one, as for me at least, this one beats all the other IEMs that I have tried so far. So all of them is having something or the other missing in all of them. But this one is something that covers every single aspect to the expectations that you can manage for the price that this is. For a $10 IEM, this is a no-brainer option, and this can be something that you can start out your audio journey with. And then later, you could even change the wires. If you change the cable, it gets even better. So it is something that can go with you for a long way that it is. Not sure about the build aspects on how long it can live, provided that this is one of the KZ series, and KZ is known to have shells which can just fall apart eventually. So we'll have to see to that on the long-term aspects. But overall, in terms of how this sounds to me and how this performs, I was actually thoroughly impressed by the KZ. So in terms of rating, I would happily give this a 3.5 out of 5, just because that this one is a jack in everything. And it, as for me, who has tried on bass heavy sets and having that kind of bass expectations for how a 5-star should be, I don't want to go giving this thing 4-star or something on that sort. But a 3.5 is a good enough rating for the GK Kunten. Alright, so it is the moment you've been all waiting for. This is the giveaway time for all these IEMs that I've been using, and here is my thoughts. Thank you so much for the 500 subscribers. It's a great milestone to achieve, and thank you so much for all the supports. A lot of you guys have been in the comments telling different things about the IEM and also giving your feedback on it. I highly appreciate it, and as usual, do keep the supports coming. It goes a long way, and it really helps me to do the different reviews that I'm doing for all of you guys. So with that said, thought of giving something back to the group, and here it is. This is going to be a giveaway of the GK Kunten, as well as all the different IEMs that I've been trying out in this full thing. So I have tried out the TRN ST1, this is the FZ FT1, the Audiocular Arc as well. So the Audiocular Arc is also going to be in the set, and we have the TRN TA as well in the set. And finally, the FCZS1. So all of the IEMs that you're going to be seeing in this bundle is going to be up for the giveaway, but they're going to be up in stages. So the first thing, as usual, is like, subscribe, and give a comment as to one of your favorites in this particular bundle. So as usual, I'm going to be picking out a random comment from everyone and one random comment for one random IEM in this particular bundle. So the rules of this giveaway is simple. I'm having 6 IEMs for giveaway, and those 6 IEMs will keep on adding in the stage as we go beyond the 10 likes zone. So if we have 10 likes, we have 1 IEM for giveaway. If we have 20, it'll be 2 IEMs. If it's 30, 3, 40 is 4, 50 is 5, 60 and above, it'll be all 6 IEMs up for the giveaway. So as usual, I'll be picking out random comments from this video, and then I'll be getting in touch with you. So I will be putting out a separate video as usual for what I've done for the previous giveaway, and those particular members can then contact me through my particular email, which is in my profile. And remember, only through that email. I will not be pinging any of you down in the comments below. Please avoid scammers. And for those people, if you show me proof of ownership of your account and you have commented in, I will be then getting in touch with you in the video and sending one of these goodies out to you. So I'll be holding this up for around, let's say, 2 weeks from the time of this video uploading. So I'll keep you posted in the times in the pinned comment down below. And good luck to all of you guys. And once again, thank you so much for 500 subscribers. And let's keep the momentum going so we reach 1,000 subscribers soon enough. As usual, do let me know your thoughts and opinions down at the comments below. That'll also count in particular comment of the video. But do keep in mind, I do remove duplicate comments from the same account. So I'll keep 1 comment per account. That's how I use it. But do let me know your thoughts of all these particular budget IEMs down at the comment below. And if you do like my videos, give me a thumbs up. If you don't like my videos, give me a thumbs down. I don't know. Until then, this is Joe, and I would see you in the next review. Peace and all the best.